11:38, and it's time for us to get into it with your love coach, Pastor Simba Woloza, founder and programs coordinator of Strong Bonds Marriage Africa, author of the book titled The Marriage Handbook, and a pastor at Praise City Church. Pastor, sawubona unjani?
Mina ngiyaphila, wena unjani ke?
Ngiyaphila kodwa okwanamuhle sikhuluma ngakho kanjalo phela. Yay. Aha.
This one is a big one.
It's a big one. Today you've got all of my attention. You always have it, but today I am inside that iPad. So we are currently going live right now. So please hop onto our Facebook platform because today's topic, Zwana, Gutwa, training boys to be better husbands. Everyone wants a good, caring, loving husband, but where are they trained? Who trains them? Hanzinalewe. Vakatrainwa nemunu one, because they're all the same. They're all liars, they're all cheaters. Lewe's words. Okay, not hair, but someone that looks like hair.
Yeah, you know what, I think this is the big talk, amongst women, girls particularly. I want a better husband, I want a good husband, I want a caring husband, a loving husband. But I think the big question is, where do we find one? Because we know where a good wife comes from, isn't it? The Bible is very clear in Proverbs 19 verse 14. It says that a prudent wife comes as a precious gift from God, comes from God. Wealth you get from parents, but when it comes to a prudent wife, a good wife, that one comes from God. So we know exactly where a good wife comes from. But what we don't know, but yet so everyone's complaining about how bad their husbands are, and know the truth. About how bad their husbands are. I'm not saying kunema conversations about how good husbands have been, but in most cases they are talking about how bad the husbands have been. So we need to address that question. Could Kanatuda avoid the same conversations 25 years from now? We need to start the training now. Okay? Because the 20 years ago, 30 years ago was under someone being trained. And there are some total of the training that they've been going through over the, I don't know how many years of their lives as boys, as young adults. So we need to come back kumana, mkomana, that toddler, that teenager, how we are training them. And those just onekwa, 20 years later, in their adult years, when they are relating with their wives, they will be just manifesting what they were being taught. That's why it's important, parenting is not easy. It's something that is very, very important even before God. And unfortunately, parenting has a limited span. You don't parent for the rest of your life. You only have maybe 20 years, 18 years, 25 years to do that important job. Because the Bible that we're referring to also says that train up a child in the way he should go, so that when he's old, you will not depart from such ways. So parenting is best defined as training up a child. So if we are not intentionally training up a child, 25 years later, an adult will regret. Saka, it's very important for us to actually dedicate enough time, strategies on how we can train someone so that they can relate better with their spouses later on. So today's I'm looking particularly at husbands, because complaints we want to raise tomorrow's husband now. I know this was saying one. I know Trin was saying at 11 years, at 12 years, so that they can become a better husband later. I know there are quite a number of women out there that will say, you know what, my husband is just, everything that I wanted in a man or everything that I wanted in a husband. They are there, Vanotodaru. Maybe you really need to reflect on that today and maybe pick up your phone. Mama, I thank you for the husband you raised for me. Wouldn't that be good, to do that?
Yeah.
Because they were very deliberate about, how they would raise Manawavo. They had a picture of a husband that they wanted. So punishment on for Utongo Ita, for you to actually raise a better husband, I've heard talk about wife material. But we are wife material. But rarely do we talk about husband material. Husband material, actually, husband material, right? Say, is it an event that happens with per wedding when is then boom from nowhere? You are now husband material, you are now good. Or there is a process that is taken into consideration from one actually 5 years, 6 years, so that later on in life they can become a better husband or they can become husband material. So we are being proactive, Zanani. You know, we are saying, okay, this is the kind of a husband that we want to raise, so therefore this is what we must do so that we match up with what we aspire in that manai, in that boy that we are raising or that young man that we are raising. So today's talk is more about preparing your child for marriage. Even under 6 years, under 10 years, you need to prepare for them, to prepare them now for marriage. Don't delay. Because I know a number of us want to do premarital coaching, premarital counseling 3 weeks or 4 weeks before the wedding. But come on, that doesn't do much. Kana utorimo software itorimo mauri ya ane 20 years ichiswa mauri, it will not just disappear simply because you've been kwamfundis for just 30 minutes of premarital counseling. Am I saying that doesn't work? No, it works. Because it highlights my areas that you actually need to work on and your shortcomings and all that. But proper training for marriage begins when you are a small boy. So you need to start training now. Don't procrastinate. Because it will be a problem. Let me tell you some few things that are, I believe in these things. This is the principle that I run with. Because you know what? It's better for my child to cry now than for the parents to cry later. Did you get that?
Yeah.
It's better for a child to cry now than for the parents to cry later. What do I mean by that? It's better to discipline mwana wako nas when they're still young, so that also cheme mangwana. Because kana ukasa discipline mwana wako nas, iwo as a parent ndiwo chatanga kuchema mangwana. Mwana ye anenga ama drugs, mwana ye anenga unza aura ya munu, aura ya mkazi, aura ya murume, because we didn't train them, we didn't discipline them. So it's important for us to do that. Because what I've also understood is that, when you are raising your son today, you are actually raising not just a son, but you are raising someone's husband. Just husband. So I'm talking to all the, all those mothers that have boys, you are actually raising your boy for someone else. So you don't want to hand over someone who's raw. Someone asina chanacho asina charukugona, and you expect your daughter-in-law to do miracles. That cannot happen. So it's important for us to be very deliberate about raising this kind of a child. You actually future-proof them, because there's a future out there. They have a married life to live later on in their adult lives. So you're actually future-proofing them now by equipping them with the necessary skills so that they can actually relate with other people. Saka, it's quite important for us to be conscious of that. We are not only raising for us, but we are raising them for Murora Wedu. We are raising them for Mkwasha Wedu, Munera Mangwana. And I must also say this, if you are taking notes, write down, Kuti, it's easy to train a boy than to correct a husband. It's easy to train a boy than to correct a husband. Kuzo correct, kuzo ita delete software wesemwe software kana ku upgrade software azvito zombobvume. Do you know kune mama phone asingabvume ma upgrades? Kune mama computer, ma laptop asingabvume ma upgrades. You try everything. You drag him to the pastor, you drag him to the bishop, you drag him to the archbishop. As long as that person is unupgradable, you are wasting your resources.
Yeah.
So that's why we really need to come down and work with them while they're still young, so that we put the necessary software in them. And this comes down to even our actions isusu as the parents, because how you are relating with their mother, how you are relating with their father, it is enough marital preparation for your child, because human beings learn mostly through imitation. That's why they say masawa adonhere kure sterek nemuti wawo. Apples don't fall far from, from the tree. Ndazongotaura hangu masawa because I want to bring the example closer to home. But I'm just trying to bring out a point kuti humans learn mostly through imitation.
Yeah.
So whatever you're doing now, your son will pick that up, they will see it, and they will normalize that. I remember one day, my son said to me, Daddy, men don't do that. Because I did passing so got some place and then my son was like, Daddy, men don't do that. And I said, now we have a problem. I don't know where he learned this from, but young man, let me correct you. I started teaching him. And even now I do it deliberately.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong. Hakuna murume akapfurwa nepfuti. Aonekwa ari pasinga achisota madishi. Hakuna kambofa nokugeza maplates. So I do that so that they also learn, my kids, particularly my son, so that they learn kuti this is okay. You won't die because you've been, cleaning up the dishes. Saka, it's our actions. We need to do more when it comes to our actions so that we see, we actually put the right software mu vana vedu. Because vana vedu havane, a bigger mission before them. So we need to train them up now. We need to prepare them now for that bigger mission that's before them. So I'm going to go through a few things that I've listed. Maybe to just answer pane question angangota royalty saka vanotrainwa nani, one was saying good vakadzi afa kutraina vana komana, but I believe we are here and we're talking about context here, relationship. I believe that your son will learn about relationships, about his future wife from Mama Vaki, from you, the mother. So you can actually, show them kuti vakadzi vakata say, vakadzi vanoita say, how do they behave, what do they want, things like that as the mother, unapologetically. So you can do that. It's important. Don't shy away from doing that. I'll try to get deeper as we go. But am I saying that husbands have no role to play, fathers have no role to play? No. That's a story for another day. We can always talk about that because we know the effects of absenteeism, yana baba. We know the effects, yana baba. We know the father wounds and all those things. But today we are looking at what mothers can input, what mothers can transfer, can teach, the boys, what mothers can transfer into their boys. That's what we're looking at. So I believe with all my heart that women play a greater role. And in most cases they're there right from the beginning. Manachiri numbu, manachi jarwa, they're there. So I don't want them to, at any point to then drop that responsibility and say, okay, now I'm handing you over to your father. But, that's how God created women. They are nurturers. So they have a role to play. And they must play that role. Okay, let's look at some of the things that I've put down. How do you train tomorrow's husband? How do you train the young men, the boys? How do you train them to become better husbands for tomorrow? Number one, train him. I want to be very practical here. Train him to do household chores. I know maybe you've got house helpers and it's fine. But do you know that if you are going to future-proof mwana wako, you are looking at different scenarios. What if my son ends up in another country, like say Australia? Because it's so expensive to employ a maid or a helper.
That's true.
You need to fork out about 3,000 US a month. And they need to be degreed for them to qualify as a helper. Mbamako. Saka, you would rather raise your own kids when you find yourself in that country or in that part of the world. Saka, yes, Zimbabwe, I can afford to have 3 helpers and all that. But I must also try to help mwana kuti akwanise kuita all my household chores. You never know where life will take mwana wangu. Saka, I've got to, to let them do certain things. Panone apo, let them pick up after themselves. That's a golden rule. Panone apo, let them do the laundry. Let them do whatever has to be done so that they learn, they pick up something. Now, that also helps them in terms of giving them some bit of independence. I know a lot of men out there, they complain about control. But we have also lost our independence. Tega. I mean, uri a young adult, you'd cook for yourself. You'd make meals for yourself. But all of a sudden, you're now handicapped. Come on, guys. So when you do that, you lose some of your independence. Washka kumba, you are hungry. You have to wait for someone to come back from work. You have lost your independence. Washka kumba, you can't do anything until your wife comes. You have lost your independence. Come on, guys, let's pick up our independence. And it, I know, some of us it's okay, but for me, I don't think I would want that. Kuti ndinotogara mba kutononoka kuenda kubasa ndakamira kuti mukadzi wangu asarudze hembe dzekuti ndipfeke. I'm losing my independence right there. I want to be in a position where I can also pick what I want to wear. So many times we lose our independence because we don't want to do stuff. And that's the reason why statistically, I don't have the statistics, but I know, this is happening when you look at our society. Kuti murume nemukadzi anditi, mukadzi akafa, murume anokumza kutevera. Have you ever noticed that? But mukadzi akasara, murume afa, mukadzi anombochovha. Why? It's because women have been independent for a very long time. They can do their own laundry, dishes, cook food. They can do many things. But murume mukadzi achingofa chete, it's like the world has ended. A person, there's nothing to live for. It's because we've lost our independence. Why? Because we have, now that we're married, we just want someone to do things for us. So let's teach these young boys. It's important that they do that. Then number two, point number two, prepare them for traditional role reversal. And katiti ma traditional roles, tikutaura zvatakakura tingobhilivha ndizvo zviripo. One day I'm going to tackle that statement yekunzi semunhu womurume. If there's one thing that has caused a lot of discomfort in many marriages, it is that statement yekuti semunhu womurume. I will look at it on another day, as a standalone topic. But for now, I want you to understand that some of these traditional roles, some of them are not even in the Bible. Yes, we inherited them. But the society that we are living in is changing. My phones are upgraded. Everything is being upgraded. So, even our wives, we must accept that they are being empowered, meaning that they are going to go kubasa for longer work hours. And let's accept that it's happening. There's nothing that we can do to stop that change. It is coming. That change is coming. So what must we do then? We must appreciate the fact that roles are reversing. It's okay for you to cook. It's okay for you to do some of those so-called traditional roles that were assigned to someone. And in fact, when you love someone, you don't even do it. Is it okay for a man to do or for a wife to do? If you love someone, you just do it for them. Then number 3, you also need to teach vanao, emotional intelligence, relational intelligence. We always talk about these things. We want vana komana to validate, someone else's emotions, because those are the problems that we then see in their adult years now. We want them to also appreciate their emotions as well. How do we do that? We let them interact with human beings. Send them out there so that they can interact with human beings. Send them to the grocery shop, nema shop assistants. As you're doing that, you're actually teaching them how to relate with people. So fast forward, when they are married, they will not struggle in terms of relating with their wives. Number 4, teach them to say thank you. Papa teach you to thank you. We're actually preparing them for their marriage. In marriage, they will actually appreciate their wives, their spouses, because it's something that is in their blood. Do you know there are some kids you can actually tell uchikoro chipi. And likewise, marriage and family is an institution. If I talk to your child, if I talk to you as an adult person, I can almost describe your parents, because that's the institution that trained you. Saka, parents, let's be careful. We are institutions. We are training vanavedu. And 20 years from now, we'll be judged whether we did a good job or not. So teach them to say thank you. Teach them to validate other people's emotions and say sorry. That's a big word. Teach them to say sorry, so that 25 years later in their marriage, they can actually be able to acknowledge what they've done wrong and say to their spouses, most men out there, and some women as well, they cannot say sorry. They cannot even agree to their kanganisa and they are on the wrong. So if you are a mature person rather, you should appreciate it. Can I did wrong, and you apologize. That's wisdom. That's maturity. Number 6, the last one. Gone are the days where the boy child will openly get favors ahead of the girl child.
Yes.
izvo zvashaita. Let's train vana vedu kuti you know what, you need to work hard, because if you just give them on the silver plate, mukomana yachakura asingade kushanda ane usimbe. Akazoona mwanasikana akushanda, then they feel like they're being threatened because they were used to just getting favors. Come on, times
Unfortunately.
But I'm going to share these notes here on my WhatsApp channel. So I've shared the link on my WhatsApp status so that you can get the notes later on. I'll edit them and post them on my WhatsApp channel. My number is easy: 0773 000 000. 0773 000 000. I need your name and your marital status. Kutitange nyaya yedu, do the starako ne marital status, so that I can save you in an appropriate broadcast list. Otherwise, on social media platforms, I'm married by Simba, or just Pastor Simba Woloza.
Thank you so much, Pastor Simba. Antimanzwa Hanzi 0773 000 000.
Yes, easy number.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
And that way you can also get to know some of the events that we have lined up for those that are married, the singles. So please come through. We have big events happening.
Thank you so much, Pastor Simba. We say asante sana to you. I was so locked in today. I didn't even ask questions. I was like, no, this I need to be educated and liberated at the same time. Thank you so much for joining us on the Morning Galaxy. From me to you, Lewe, Pastor Simba, and of course, Chef Shingi, it is goodbye. Anevoa, Dazvedanya, Tochekiane, Kwaheri, Zaichan, however else you say goodbye in your language. It's been so much fun having you. Please be on standby for the TXO with the Moxinator and of course, DJ Tats Bliss. But right now, it's 12 o'clock and it's time for the news.